Another game where the Dolphins almost give their fans a heart attack, but they were able to get the job done. 31-27 was the final score in Detroit. The Dolphins take down the Lions. Tua Tagovailoa with a very impressive day on the road. 29 for 36, 382 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Rushing, Raheem Mostert, 14 for 64. Tua Tagovailoa, 5 for 19. He slid today multiple times, which is great to see. And on the receiving side, this is where the Dolphins won the game. Tyreek Hill, 12 receptions for 188 yards. Jalen Waddle, 8 receptions, 106 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Gesicki, 3 for 38 and a touchdown. Sherfield, 2 for 25 and should have been a touchdown. I was very annoyed that they called that one back. Alec Ingold had a rushing touchdown because they were at like the half-yard line. After the replay, it was pretty obvious that Sherfield got in. It would have been 4 touchdowns for Tua, and it should have been, but whatever. On the Lions side, Jared Goff also with a very impressive day. 27 for 37, 321 yards and a touchdown. Jamal Williams, 10 carries, 53 yards, 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Swift, 5 for 6. He was not that much of a problem today, which I'm glad to see. TJ Hawkinson, 3 for 80. Khalif Raymond, 3 for 76. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 7 for 69. DeAndre Swift, 5 for 27 and a touchdown. He was maybe a problem a little bit in the receiving game, but yeah, the offense was really on point. I'll talk about the offense for a bit. We were really clicking. Like, there was not many drives where there was any mistakes whatsoever. I think maybe 1 punt on the day for Thomas Morstead. Yeah, only 1 punt. The Dolphins scored on every single drive that they had the football, except for the first drive, which was the Braylon Sanders fumble, and the last drive, which was the victory formation, which finally was able to see for, I think, the first time this season. But yeah, the Dolphins on the first drive, Dolphins won the toss. They deferred. Lions came down and scored. They looked flawless. I was very nervous that we would get the best of the Lions offense today, but it was basically a shootout in the first half. Dolphins came down. They were driving pretty well. Then Braylon Sanders had a fumble. I do not know why he was called up for this game. I don't think River Craycraft was injured, so I was really disappointed to see him being out. One notable inactive. Eric Rowe was a healthy scratch. Now, I don't want to be the one to say it, but this could easily be a trade that is just about to be happening. Don't think it'll happen like tonight, but to potentially tomorrow or Tuesday morning, afternoon, whenever, before the deadline though, it's looking like a real possibility that Eric Rowe may have played his last game as a Miami Dolphin, at least for the season, or he's part of it. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but just the fact that he was a healthy scratch was very, very interesting. But yeah, like I said, I'll talk about the offense for a little bit. They were firing on all cylinders. Like I said, Tua Tagovailoa was impressive today. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, the Lions defense could not stop them no matter what they did. At least one of them was open all the time, which is just exactly what you had in mind when you made the trade for Tyreek Hill and when you set the O-line around him, when you hired Mike McDaniel to get that play call system in the Miami Dolphins. And it's been working really, really well. Tua Tagovailoa is 5-0 this season. 5-1 because he started the Bengals game, whatever. He's 5-0 in games that he actually finishes. He only played one half in the Bengals game. So the Dolphins are 0-3 without Tua. We're 5-0 with Tua. It's pretty clear that he makes a tremendous impact. And it showed that, there was a bit of rust last week in the Steelers game, but all that rust was brushed off today. Basically no mistakes. Sure, there was a throw or two that were off. There was one to Mike Gesicki that was past him, and luckily he got a hand on it or would have been intercepted. Tyreek Hill, there was a pass that was a bit high. Same with him, could have been intercepted. But other than that, there was only 6 incomplete passes, or 7, whatever it was, and about 40 that were complete. So Mike Gesicki, he was a pretty big part. He was out in the field running routes for most of the game, and he had those 3 catches, had that touchdown catch. Jalen Waddle had 2 touchdown catches. One of them just was wide open in the corner of the end zone. The other one was a beauty beauty of a throw from Tua. Just you can't have a better throw than what he gave. Just completely burned his defender in the dust, and Waddle was gone. Let him completely perfect right over the top. Tua is looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He's looking like a quarterback that has not been played better than. Like, there's not been many quarterbacks this season that has played better than Tua when he's on the field. Like I said, 5-0 with him. Next week you play the Bears. Shouldn't be much of an issue. The defense has got to work on their issues. I'll talk about that now. Defense looked atrocious. Now, I know we have the injuries. Sure, Byron Jones is not out there for basically the rest of the season. Nick Needham is not out there. You get Keon Crossan back. You get Kader Kohu back. Xavier Howard has been out there for the past couple weeks, basically by himself. Javon Holland is practically the only safety out there because Eric Rowe is a healthy scratch. We'll get more news on that soon. And we know Brandon Jones is out for the season, so you've Clayton Fejedelem in. Verone McKinley was activated once again. And then Justin Bethel, I guess, was out there. Elijah Campbell. But Javon Holland played every single snap, and he didn't have a solid game at all. Actually, he played pretty bad. One missed tackle on TJ Hawkinson. That was like the huge gain that he had that led to their second touchdown of the game on the 3rd and 2, whatever it was. There was a missed sack. The Lions try to make a flea flicker up, and Javon Holland had Jared Goff in his hands for a loss of about 7 yards, and he just let him go. Missed tackles, just bad coverage. Javon Holland didn't have a great game, and I know that he's no help back there, but to be in that category of superstar safeties, you need to be able to make those plays when you're the only one back there. So that's something he's got. He's only second-year player. It's nothing too concerning. He is still one of the best safeties in the game, and I'm sure that he will improve throughout the season. But the second thing, or third, fourth, whatever it is, too many penalty flags. Way too many on the O-line, multiple false starts, multiple holding calls a lot of holding calls were missed on both sides. And on the D-line, there were so many neutral zone infractions. Like most of the games, maybe you potentially have one, and in the rare possibility you have maybe 2 calls the whole game. But there were multiple neutral zone infraction calls throughout this whole entire game, which is just something that you really never see. But players said after the game, just like you have some refs that are stricter, for example, in the NBA, stricter on reach and fouls or travel calls, whatever. There are some refs that are stricter on neutral zone infraction calls, which is pretty weird, but there were about 4 or 5 calls of those made today. So that is something that had to be worked on. There was a time where it was like the 3rd or 4th penalty on the Dolphins, and Mike McDaniel looked over to the O-line coach, I think, and he was like, get this fixed, like now. You could see that McDaniel was not really having it, but yeah, the Dolphins were able to get it done. 2-game winning streak now, moving on to 5-3 on the season. This team, it's just so annoying because this team could easily be in the category of 7-1 or even 8-0 if Tua doesn't get injured in that Bengals game. But it is what it is. It's part of football. I'm just glad that we have him back now. It's the Bears next week. They literally just traded away their best pass rusher, Robert Quinn. He's now a Philadelphia Eagle. But yeah, I'll have that preview obviously coming next week. This week, it's probably going to be about the trade line. I'm sure maybe if we even move tomorrow, there'll be a video tomorrow. If there's a move on Tuesday, we'll have a video on Tuesday. I think nevertheless on Tuesday, I'm going to have a traded line review video, whether the Dolphins made a move or not. I'm hoping that we do make a move. I'm going to make that clear right now. Secondary needs help. I know it's against the Lions, but they have one of the best offenses. They have one of the best offenses in the league, and even though they do, you're not going to be able to go far into the playoffs or even get into the playoffs with this secondary concerning. You play a team like the Chargers in a couple weeks. The 49ers just killed the Rams. Then the Bills after that on the road. You're not going to be able to beat these teams with this secondary. So you have to make a move because Brandon Jones, Nick Needham, you're not going to get these guys back. They're out for the season. So you need to make some moves now. The trade line's in less than 45 hours. So Chris Greer, get on the phone, make some moves, make Dolphins fans happy. But yeah, 2-game winning streak now. On to Chicago next week. Should be a win, but I don't want to talk too soon. Dolphins were down 14-0 in this one, able to come back and get the win. Also really proves that we are a second half team, but I'd rather a second half team than a first half team. Either way, that'll wrap up. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know I enjoyed today. The Jets also lost too. The Bills are playing the Packers right now, and Bills are up 7-0 already. Great. Either way, that'll wrap up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great day. Peace.